You know, in the high-stakes world of automotive development, we spend a fortune securing our own networks. But what if your biggest security threat isn't even inside your own company? Today, we're going to dive into how you secure your entire supply chain using the TISAX standard as our guide.
I mean, really think about that for a second. You're sharing sensitive designs, confidential data, plans for the future, with dozens, maybe even hundreds of different suppliers and contractors. This question, it's not just some philosophical exercise. It's a direct challenge to the way we've always looked at security. And right here, this is the heart of the matter. You can have the most advanced, expensive firewalls in the world, but if just one of your partners has a weak spot, well, that weak spot just became your problem. Imagine that small engineering firm you work with gets breached. And suddenly, boom, the design files for your next-generation EV battery are out there for the world to see. That's the risk we're talking about. It's a chain, and every single link has to be strong. So how do we even begin to fix this? Well, that's where TISAX comes in, the Trusted Information Security Assessment Exchange. It's basically the gold standard for information security in the auto industry. It gives us a playbook, not for building higher walls, but for creating clear, solid rules of engagement for everyone you work with. Here's a simple way to look at it. You wouldn't just hand over the keys to your house to a contractor without a solid contract, right? Without checking them out, without being crystal clear about what they can and can't do? Of course not. So why on earth would we treat our company's most valuable secrets any differently? The principle is exactly the same. So how does this actually work? Well, TISAX Control 6.1.1 breaks it down into 3 simple, non-negotiable steps. First, you assess the risk. Who are you dealing with? What are they handling? Second, you get it in writing. You put formal security requirements into a contract. And third, and this is the part people often forget, you verify. You don't just take their word for it, you check that they're actually doing what they promised. Okay, so not all information is created equal, right? Sharing some marketing brochures is one thing, but sharing unpatented prototype designs, that's a whole different ballgame. TISAX gets this. It uses a concept called protection needs. Basically, the level of security you demand from a partner has to match how sensitive the data you're giving them actually is. And here's what that looks like in the real world. For your standard, everyday info, those 3 steps we just talked about, assess, contract, verify, are probably enough. But when you get into high protection stuff, the game changes. You have to do all that, plus you have to make sure your suppliers are holding their own subcontractors to the same standards. You need to see their reports, and you need actual proof, like a TISAX certificate, that their security is up to snuff. The responsibility flows down the chain. Now, beyond that main supplier agreement, TISAX puts a massive spotlight on one specific legal tool, the non-disclosure agreement, the NDA. And let me be clear, this is not just some piece of paper you sign and forget. It is your #1 shield when you're sharing anything you don't want your competitors to see. Just look at the difference here. Without an NDA, your data is vulnerable, there's all this legal gray area, and you have zero control over who sees your information. But with a proper NDA, now you've got protected information, you have legal options if things go wrong, and you've set really clear boundaries. It's the difference between total chaos and having control. So what makes an NDA ironclad according to TISAX? It's all about getting super specific. You have to spell out exactly who is involved, precisely what information is considered confidential, why you're even sharing it, how long the agreement lasts, and most importantly, how the other party is required to protect it. Ambiguity is your worst enemy here. And you guessed it, just like with our general supplier rules, when the stakes get higher, your NDA has to get stronger. For information that has high protection needs, that basic NDA we just outlined, that's just the starting line. Your top-tier NDA has to cover what happens to the information after the project ends. You can't just leave that hanging. It also needs to give you the right to audit them, to actually go in and check that they're following the rules. And critically, you need a system, a process to track when these NDAs are about to expire so you can get them renewed. You can't afford to let that protection lapse, not even for a day. Okay, that was a lot, I know. We've covered the core principles for locking down your supply chain. So what do you need to do right now, today? Let's boil all of this down into a clear, no-nonsense action plan. Here it is, your immediate to-do list. First, assess every single partner, no exceptions. Second, bake those security clauses into every single contract. Third, go out and verify compliance. Don't just trust them, get the proof. Fourth, create a standard NDA template that nails all these TISAX rules. And finally, and this is maybe the most important one, Get that NDA signed before a single byte of sensitive data ever leaves your control. So let me just leave you with this one last thought. You've spent so much time, money, and effort locking your own doors and windows. But your security isn't just about your house anymore. It's about everyone you've ever given a key to. So the real question is, have you actually checked if they're leaving their doors unlocked?